Hey everyone, I'm Don and welcome back to the channel. I've been cooking in Dutch ovens for over 40 years. Of all the things that I've made, biscuits are hands down my favorite and the one I've cooked the most. Today I want to share with you a simple 2-ingredient biscuit that you can whip up anywhere, whether you're camping or in your kitchen at home. Let's get started. I had intended to bake these biscuits over coals in the backyard in my studio, also known as my back porch, but Mother Nature had the last word. Gang, this is a super simple recipe with just 2 cups of this self-rising flour and 1.25 cups of heavy cream. Now, one of the secrets or tricks behind getting a tender biscuit is not mixing it up too much. This is a quick bread, not a regular yeast type of bread. You don't want to knead it. You don't want to build up a lot of gluten. You just want to mix it enough to get your wet ingredients incorporated into the flour. Roll it out so that you have a uniform thickness, cut your biscuits, and you're good to go. Here's a few fun facts I've learned while I was looking up recipes for biscuits. The term biscuit is actually Latin, and it comes from the word biscoctus, meaning twice baked. Early biscuits were hard and dry, designed for long storage on ships and in military rations. I know the U.S. military during the Civil War called it hardtack. One fellow was chewing into his hardtack and said he found something soft and found out it was a nail. Biscuits evolved in different parts of the world. In Europe, they were more like hard crackers, while in the U.S., they became soft and fluffy and leavened with baking powder. This recipe is similar to one known as American baking powder biscuits. Our friends across the pond know them as scones. These biscuits have been one of the most popular quick breads for generations. The recipe was carried into the Old West by pioneers, including some of my ancestors, who couldn't live without this delightful biscuit. Baking powder biscuits are firmer than range biscuits and can survive a ride in a bumpy covered wagon or in your shirt pocket if you're sitting on a horse. Now back to the recipe for a minute. I'm using a 3-inch biscuit cutter, and that made my 10-inch Dutch oven just about the perfect size to fit these guys in it. I sprayed the bottom of the Dutch oven with some cooking oil, which will allow the bottoms of these biscuits to fry just a little bit, giving them a nice golden color and a nice crunchy texture. Now what I'm going to do now is grate some butter. As you can guess, grating butter may not be the easiest thing to do, but I put the stick of butter in the freezer for a while, which made it much easier to handle. On the first of these 2 batches, I'm using a full stick of butter, which turned out to be not exactly what I wanted. The flavor was really good, but it was just too much butter. Ideally, when you're using butter in a recipe like this, you grate it or have it shaved very finely so that you can mix it up in the flour and distribute it evenly throughout the flour. What this can do for you is as the butter melts, the water in the butter creates steam and helps to give you a lighter, fluffier biscuit and creates those real neat layers in the biscuit itself. Now in round 2 of my biscuit making, I only used half a stick of butter in the 2 cups of flour, and it was magic. So write that down, half a stick of butter with 2 cups of flour. You'll see the result here in just a little bit. Now for some more fun biscuit facts. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, the record for the largest biscuit, which would include a baking powder biscuit, is held by the Immaculate Baking Company in Flat Rock, North Carolina, with a biscuit measuring 754 square meters. That's 8,120 square feet. And it weighed 40,000 pounds. That's a lot of biscuit. Now you want to get your dough so that it is held together pretty tight. As you'll see, I'll dump this out here and I'll try and form it into kind of a little cohesive mass. And then I'll take my rolling pin and roll it out to about a 1/2 inch thick. And then, like I said earlier, I'll take my 3-inch biscuit cutter and cut these biscuits out. You can also use a drinking glass or maybe a jar lid to cut these out. Make sure you press straight down without twisting. This will help them rise a little better without sealing off the edges that might happen if you twist that cutter. Now we're sitting at about 8,000 feet above sea level, and so they say that higher altitude you typically want to raise your baking temperature and bake for a little bit longer, which is what I tried with this first round of biscuits. I put the temperature up around 425 and baked them for about 20, maybe a little over 20 minutes, and they turned out just fine. I tried a little experiment, and the second batch of 2 Dutch ovens worth I put in the oven at 375 degrees for 25 minutes, and they turned out just the same. So I really couldn't see much difference in cooking time and temperature between these 2 batches based on our altitude. So here's the great unveiling. The Dutch oven on the right is the one that has the butter in it. You see it's a little bit darker, a little bit more brown on top. Butter did that for you. Here's what the first batches look like, and then the second batches. So look at these beauties. Perfectly golden. The bottoms, you don't get any better than that. Something I wanted to tell you though. I made 2 identical batches with one difference between them. On one of them I added a 1/2 stick of grated butter. Now look at the difference in the layers. See, this looks just like a nice fluffy biscuit. But then check this out. This is the one that had the butter put into it. I'll tell you how I did this during the body of the video, but man, this looks good. Let's crack her open and see what she looks like. You guys got to cook these. I've already eaten a couple. They are amazing. Here's some I've got some butter and honey on. I'm going to shove one in my mouth while you're watching me. If I can get the butter off there. They remind me a little bit of Popeye's biscuits, Popeye's chicken. The only reason I go there ain't for the chicken, it's for the biscuits. These have a similar flavor, but they are a lot lighter and a lot fluffier. So with 2 ingredients, or 3 if you have the butter, how can you go wrong? Grab some of these. I cooked these inside because when I was originally doing this it was too cold out here. Just put them in a Dutch oven, 375 degrees in the oven inside of my kitchen for about 25 minutes. My new favorite. Check it out. Thanks for joining me. If you give this a try, please comment below and let me know what you think. If you wanted to use this, say you're going to have a nice steak or something like that, you can take this, put a little shredded cheese in it, and then brush it with some garlic butter. Perfectly savory. These are great for biscuits and gravy, or eating them just the way I'm going to, with some jam and honey. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.